Goes up. All right, we're live. This is the Breadman from SBRpicks.com. I am here with the big man on campus doing our Saturday sit-down and NCAA basketball sleepers, which has been taking off. There's been great fan response. Everybody seems to love your opinion on these games. And today we kind of like to switch it up just a little bit and do a little bit more of an open forum and try to answer as many questions as possible. So what do you got to start out with, man?
Yeah, welcome everyone. Justin, always good to be back with you with the sit down here. We figured to do an open forum just because I get inundated every day with people, hey, can you talk to me on the phone? Hey, can you give me some pointers? Hey, can you do this? Can you do that? We just thought this would be a great forum, especially on a Saturday morning here to kind of try to get to everyone. Now, we'll make it a point to try to get to everyone again. I don't think there's enough hours in the day to answer every single question, but we'll jump into it here and hopefully we can do that. I will point out before we get into it, Justin, I'll do it like I did last week. If you DM me on Twitter, I'll give you a free play of mine that I'm giving out today. We'll try to look for a winner. I know last week we pushed the game I gave out. We kind of got a better number and some people didn't, but either way, we'll look to try to catch that. So after the show, I'll try to get to everyone and get that free play out to you. That'll be a game I'm personally on. One game that I'm looking into, Justin, here, and then we'll kind of let people run with it here. I'm looking at Baylor to bounce back today, Kansas State. They're +2 on the road here again, but we saw what happened in the last game. They really were just never in that game against West Virginia. West Virginia kind of controlled the game, turned them over a whole lot. And I think Kansas State here, I like what they've done there in Manhattan, but I think Baylor off a loss would be a little bit more focused.
Right.
Kansas State struggled to rebound the basketball. That's kind of one of their bugaboos. I think some of the bigs for Baylor should be able to have a nice day against the interior for Kansas State. And look, again, anytime you're getting Baylor at a plus money price, I think you got to look at them. The way they can score at 49% shooting, and they're very good defensively as well. I think it's a good spot to bounce back for them. We'll find out a lot about Baylor. Were they kind of a fraud and they lose 2 straight here, or are they that team that bounces back and gets a road win here?
And they're still currently ranked at number 1, right? Until the Tuesday rankings come out.
Yeah, until the Tuesday ranking comes out, which again, it still says number 1. They won't be number 1, but again, if they lose this one, they're going to be shot down in the standings. I just think they're a little bit better team. I think, off a loss, obviously Scott Drew, the coach, is going to make them, kind of more, they're going to be focused, nonetheless. They were kind of starstruck in that game against West Virginia. So I kind of like them today at +115 on the money line. I think it's a pretty good spot for them to bounce back here. Before we get into it, guys, I had 1 or 2 people that got on me because I gave it a couple losers. Have you watched me all year on here? Really? If you're trying to win money off of one day, you probably shouldn't be doing this.
It is it's all about playing the numbers.
Yeah.
The goal for any handicapper is to be above that 53-54% mark.
Right.
So even when you're doing like a service play deal where you're just following a guy, you're doing paid things, they try to explain it to you that if you have to play every single game, if you are only taking one, you're hand picking, you're picking and choosing, and hey, maybe I'll play one this week and then I won't next week. You're not going to hit around that 60%. Right. It's impossible. You might get a couple in a row, but you might not. You might hit just the 3 that they lose.
Sure. And again, you got to remember, a lot of these games are just running off to people. If you give me a game and I don't give you the correct opinion, listen, a lot of these games I'm not going to personally bet on or wager on. So, like this first one, South Dakota IPFW. If I give you a play and you like it and you play it, that's on you. I'm not going to bet on this game. IPFW South Dakota, the first one, Cuban B. That's a tough one. That's kind of a coin flippy game. South Dakota very good at home. IPFW team I don't ever like to fade, but they don't have the same typical ATS luster that they had last year. They're not a particularly good defensive team either. I'm one to think that they can get the job done here. I know one of the key players for South Dakota, Tyler Flack, he's not going to play today. So that could be something that comes down to it. It should be a great game, back and forth. I would probably lean IPFW just because I've had a lot of luck with Fort Wayne over the years. But, look, South Dakota is good at home. Joshua, Florida State and North Carolina. I remember playing that one, brother. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to pass. Seton, I'll do a couple here. Notre Dame. That's a tough one. Virginia Tech, very good at home. A team that I don't ever like to get involved with, fading at home. As far as betting on them, I'm pretty high on Virginia Tech. I'm also pretty high on Notre Dame. These coin flippy games, Notre Dame seems to always win. It's going to be a tall order, though, after their win in Miami to go in and get another win in Virginia Tech. But if anyone can do it, they can. They've been very cardiac-ish. They seem to get these close wins.
Right.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say Virginia Clemson.
Sure. Yeah, that's another one. I mean, I'm never interested in really, some of these small prices. Virginia Tech's just seeming a team that wins games like this. Clemson, are they ready to compete at this level against some of the big boys in the ACC? They lost to UNC. They really haven't played necessarily some of the upper echelon teams just yet. They really couldn't get over the hump and get the lead against UNC and then keep the lead. Virginia's covered 3 of 4 on the road against the spread. They're just a veteran team. They're well coached. They play great defense. Is Clemson ready to hang against a team like this? I'm not so sure. Look, Clemson, though, at home, very good. I don't really want to get in the way of them at home, but UVA is just they're so good on the defensive end. They're giving up 56 points a game on the road, 52 points a game overall. A veteran team like this, I'd be hard-pressed to maybe grab Virginia in this spot.
Yeah, it seems like it's one of those kind of classic offensive-defensive matchups. Clemson scores more, but Virginia happens to not allow very many points. Like you said, about 52 overall, 52.3. And it's at 2.5, 3 points?
2.5. I would probably look, if you liked Virginia, maybe grab the money line. This one could definitely come down to the wire. And I kind of say that because I took UNC several weeks ago against Clemson. They were -3. They went into overtime, won by 3. So, little things like that where if you kind of just maybe take the money line, you don't have to worry about it. You're just kind of worrying about, can they win this game? And I think they can. Duke, Louisville, another tough game. I'm not interested in Duke until Emil Jefferson comes back. Grayson Allen had a little bit of a head injury. We all know he's kind of a head case anyway. So that's
maybe it'll do him some good getting off in the head.
Yeah, it's either going to make him not trip people and push people, or maybe he'll just become the same guy. But yeah, Emil Jefferson's integral to them. Obviously, against Florida State, we saw that. They don't have much of a presence down low without him. He's a veteran. He's a guy that can rebound, score. Louisville's so good at home defensively, the way they, can kind of really press you into making mistakes. And we saw against Kentucky, they don't rattle under pressure. And look, Rick Pitino, a great coach. And without Krzyzewski, again, I'm not as high on Duke as I would be with him in there. So for me, I don't know if there's a ton of value in that game. That could be a close one, but I would almost want to lean Louisville. Until Emil Jefferson comes back, I'm not too high on Duke.
That kind of leads me in here. Talking about the Duke Louisville game, and even in ESPN, their headlines were like, "This is would seem like it's the big game of the day, but it's not. Gonzaga, that's the game of the day." And I'm actually kind of curious about this to see, St. Mary's, Gonzaga's going to St. Mary's, I believe.
Yep.
And there's been a little bit of drama. What's his name? Emery. He was talking shit about St. Mary's high school basketball stadium. And I don't know. Gonzaga's, I think they're the only team remaining, right, that's unbeaten.
Yep, the last unbeaten team. Look, I'm extremely high year after year on Gonzaga. I really like West Coast basketball. I'm high on Gonzaga year after year. And look, I'm one to think that if you look at their schedule, I think they're deserving. If they could continue to beat teams here, I think they're deserving of a number 1 seed at some point. I mean, you look at they've beaten Florida, Iowa State, Arizona, Tennessee, who could make the tournament. I mean, they beat a handful of pretty good teams so far. And look, I mean, tonight against St. Mary's is going to be a great game. Again, at home, listen, I'm never wanting to bet against Gonzaga. Even at this number at 7.5, I think Gonzaga is a tick better than St. Mary's. I like St. Mary's. I like what I've seen from them. They can obviously hit threes, but you have to remember Gonzaga is one of the best teams in the country against the three, allowing just 28.5% from distance. They have so many ways they can beat you, so many transfers. Who's going to guard Shemek Kornowski? He's what, 7 foot, 320 pounds. He's a complete load down low. I'm not sure there's anyone that can guard him face front.
Well, they got St. Mary's has that kid who's like 6'11" off the bench, right? What's his?
Yeah, they have several guys off the bench, particularly one from France, and they have just that connection in Europe and Australia that is just so potent year after year. I like St. Mary's. Again, I think they're a good team. I think Gonzaga's a great team. I think they end up kind of rolling away in this one. They won last year in the first one, or in the last one by 10. I think it's a similar situation here. St. Mary's is good. Gonzaga is great. I think Gonzaga will do enough to get like a double-digit win here.
Nice. Yeah, I was kind of curious about this one because I know that Nar and Round are both back, so they got their duo guard, their workhorses. I think St. Mary's pretty much has their whole starting five intact, and I was thinking it might be a close one, but
Yeah, Gonzaga's been really good as far as lucky with injuries. They haven't had a ton of them. Karnowski obviously last year went out and you didn't see him the rest of the year, and that definitely hurt them as far as kind of going deep into March. But this year they've stayed healthy, knock on wood. Look, I like St. Mary. I like Landau and Ebbett Nar and Hermanson. They have a ton of really solid players, and I love their coach. But Gonzaga 11-2 against the spread overall, 6-0 at home. It's hard to go against that right now. Minnesota, Purdue. Interesting line here. Or not Minnesota, Purdue. Minnesota, Penn State. I'm sorry. Penn State getting a lot of respect here as a home favorite.
I was actually going to ask you about this as -1 Penn State because I was looking at this game.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm going to wait before I put my ticket in. I'm going to wait and find out what Jeff thinks.
It's definitely an interesting line. I mean, Penn State getting a lot of love here. This is still a Penn State team that, look, I mean, they beat Michigan State in a neutral site. One thing I have to point out about that win against Penn State or against Michigan State, Penn State was playing into Palestra in Philadelphia. It's a iconic gym at Penn University. 4 of the 5 starters for Penn State are from the Philadelphia Catholic League. The Catholic League is a huge league in the city. All those kids played in Philadelphia. They're from Philadelphia. Going back to the Palestra was huge for them. Listen, if that was anywhere else, I feel like Michigan State, you might have seen a better outing. That was just one of those games where Mike Brenner talks about emotion builds up. And in this spot, though, Minnesota is very good. Up and coming, Richard Pitino. I have to kind of wonder why Penn State's a favorite here. I don't really understand it. I mean, again, Penn State's had some solid wins, but I mean, you beat Rutgers. I mean, who cares? You beat Michigan State, who's down. Who cares? I don't think Penn State's worthy of laying a number like this. I think Minnesota should win I think they should win rather comfortably. If Minnesota wants to be regarded, in the Big Ten as maybe an up-and-comer, they need to go on the road and win a game like this. The Bryce Jordan Center, not exactly a place that, it's not a great home atmosphere, really. They're a football school, not a basketball school. Minnesota should do enough. I like some of their guards, and they should go on the road and be able to win this game.
Nice. Well, you sold me on that one because I was kind of on the fence and kind of leaning Penn State, and
yeah, it's definitely.
I think you're right. I think Minnesota they do need to prove that they can go out on the road and pick up a win, and at +1, might as well just take them on the money line and get a small positive number.
Yeah, one thing I do want to point out, I'm not a huge fan of betting noon games, particularly in basketball. I'm not a huge fan of that. But Minnesota has been very good on the road, 4-1 against the spread. Defensively, they're a better team. I think offensively overall, they're a better team. But again, I'm not a huge fan of betting that 12 o'clock game, particularly in basketball.
Is there any reason for that?
Not really. Just kind of like it's just kind of like a mind thing for me. I know you got to realize. I mean, think of yourself in college. And again, these are athletes. These aren't like high level Division I, 5-star recruits though either. I mean, they're waking up. They got to get the juices flowing. I don't know. It's just kind of a thing I have. I prefer to kind of, especially at this level, maybe wait
Still a little bit hungover from the dorm party the night before.
I don't know. Maybe I just kind of tend to like to kind of 2 o'clock or like that's just kind of a mind thing for me though.
It's interesting,
Yeah, no, it definitely is. Wyoming and even football. I mean, if you notice, a lot of the games are generally lethargic. Teams are kind of getting their juices flowing and that kind of thing. Wyoming.
So hey, I'm on 5 dimes right now, and I'm looking. Minnesota is at -110. It's +1.5, and you can get a positive number on the money line, +102 at 5 dimes. And I'm going to put in a partial unit play on that right now.
Yeah, I think
so. And for all of our watchers, all of our viewers here, remember you can go to sportsbookreview.com, check out our ratings guides, and right there we have the top sports books. So if you don't have various books, it's always important to have a few different books so that you can make sure that a half point is the difference between winning and losing. But you also don't want to get in with a crappy book. We field complaints every day, and we try to be the medium between clients and sport books that sometimes aren't the best sport books. But we have a nice running list on sportsbookreview.com where you can make sure you're getting an A-rated sport book, books that have good management and are not known for ripping anybody off. So, I just want to put that out there. Check that out.
Yeah, sure, definitely. Especially when you're looking for a new book, it's always important to do your research on what you're getting with that book. Nevada, Wyoming. That's an interesting one. Definitely another interesting line here. Wyoming, a home underdog here. And listen, I'm going to tell you what, if you don't know anything, if you're not sure about, kind of this one, I think a lot of people would look and say, well, Nevada got to be the play. They're, I think they're much better than Wyoming. It's very difficult to go into Wyoming and win a game. Keep in mind, you have to fly into an airport, then drive to Laramie. Okay. It's not like they fly in and you're right there. It's a tough travel schedule. Wyoming's in altitude. It's a tough place to go and play. And look, Nevada's not been as dependable as you might think. I mean, they play a lot of close games. You saw last week against New Mexico. They had to go on that ridiculous, run with a minute left to win that game. One of the better comebacks you'll see. Keep in mind, Wyoming very good at home against the spread. They're just it's a tough place to go in there and play. And a lot of these kids, a lot of them are transfers from Nevada. They haven't played an elevation like this. I'm not a huge fan of this like elevation stuff, but in a game like this where, Marcus Marshall and several others for Nevada are transfers, how much elevation have they really played in? Don't sleep on Wyoming. They're well coached under Larry Shyatt. They really kind of work you. They play good defense, and offensively they can score. So I'm not as quick to get involved with that game. That looks kind of trappish to me. You got to remember, I mean, Nevada's always playing close games. Do you really want to get involved with a team like that? And they're not a good free throw shooting team either. So that could come into play here. I'm one to almost actually take the home underdog here. Georgetown, I don't have much opinion on Georgetown. Until they get rid of John Thompson III, I don't think they're going to be a relevant team. They need to move on there. And UConn's playing a lot better. UConn has gotten some wind under their sails. They beat Temple the other night, beat Central Florida. They're starting to kind of turn a corner a little bit. Watch UConn in the coming days.
Your mic is cracking a little bit. You might want to just wiggle it and see if.
Sorry, better now?
Yeah, it sounds better, I think.
Okay. Let's keep moving here. Miami, Pittsburgh. Jay, I feel like you've asked for the whole card so far. He's literally asked for 6 or 7 games already. Miami, Pittsburgh. Is my mic all right, bro?
It's a little bit crackly. You might want to just check your connection and wiggle. Do a little wiggle.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really touched it or anything, so I feel like it should be all right. But
sometimes my headset does that when I gotta shake it around and wiggle the little thingamajigger. So
sure.
But I can still understand you, so we're all good.
Okay, good. Pittsburgh, Miami, 2 teams that have kind of been interesting bets. I mean, Pittsburgh, not a team that doesn't really play a whole lot of defense. Miami, that's where they thrive on the defensive end. But Miami, I mean, that was a tough loss the other night against Notre Dame. Pride game they really should have won. Neither team's particularly good against the spread here. I don't know. I guess it's really whoever's going to be able to run the tempo they want to run. Pittsburgh going to run up tempo, kind of want to score a ton and kind of outscore you. Miami the other way around. right now, Miami, I'm not sure I want to get involved with, and I don't really want to get involved with Pittsburgh either. So that would be a pass for me. Kentucky, yeah, I mean, they continue to lay pretty big numbers here for the most part. I don't know. I mean, at some point, they're just kind of really wanting to win games. I don't think they care too much about covering a number. And laying 24 today against Auburn, who really wants to lay 24? I'll tell you what, Auburn
That's a lot of points.
And I'll tell you what, Auburn is a tough young team. They're definitely going to be able to run with Kentucky. Auburn's young. They're high flying. They definitely aren't going to be a team that's just going to back down here. They're scoring 79 points a game. They're a decent rebounding team. I'm not sure they get pushed around like many may think. You look at last year. I mean, Auburn beat Kentucky. If anyone remembers, actually in Auburn. So I don't know. I'm actually pretty high on Auburn. I think they're a lot better than in past years. I think Bruce Pearl finally has them kind of believe in the process a little bit. I would take that seems like way too many.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it too, and God, Kentucky does score a lot. They, what they're averaging in the low 90s, and I don't know, but 24 points, 24 and a half I'm seeing at some spots.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
Yeah,
I might just want to, a lot of times the public, they automatically go after the favorite, and the books kind of rely on that. And sometimes you can find those just the qualified fades on that, and just go against the public.
Yeah, I mean, Kentucky at home is always going to be a team that likes to, they're going to garner a lot of money. But yeah, I mean, you look at some of their losses. Auburn, though, it's concerning. I mean, you lost by 19 at Vanderbilt. You lose to Purdue by 25. I mean, it's definitely concerning here. But that Purdue game, that was a neutral court game down in one of the islands. And, listen, I think they're good enough to hang around here. 24 seems like a lot. If this was 17 or 18, you might lean Kentucky. But I think this is a 20-point game. I think 24 to 4.5, maybe a little too many here. A couple more here. Nebraska and Michigan. Yeah, Joshua telling me I need some winners today. Joshua, why don't you come over to BMOCwins.com? I'll try to give you some really good winners. Don't put a lot of pressure on me, though. I don't like that. He's telling me I need a lot of winners here. I mean, if you followed me all year, I'm 61% on these videos. Nebraska and Michigan, that's a good one. That's kind of an interesting line. I mean, Michigan has been brutal against the spread this year. They really haven't been a bet-on team. Nebraska's covered, I think, 4 or 5. They're 4-0 on the road against the spread. That seems like kind of an odd line there. I don't really get why Michigan is a 9-point favorite here.
Right.
I guess just being at home, and I'm not really sure what constitutes them being a 9-point favorite here. I considered, kind of getting involved with them. The line's just too odd for me. I would definitely take Nebraska there, but I don't know. For whatever reason, there is a reason that they're 9-point underdogs. So,
right. Yeah, and it looks like about 60% of the money is going on the dog in this situation. A lot of money on the over.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I don't really understand it. Keep in mind also Michigan 4-10 against the spread, so they don't cover numbers, and this one is a pretty big one in conference with a team that's just not been very backable. So I would probably look to back Nebraska in that spot, Josh. Big Mount Campus, you're the king. Thank you. I appreciate that.
We had a couple guys asking about LSU, and then I got a LSU Bama over or under. What do you think about LSU?
Yeah, as far as an Alabama over with Alabama, I'm never interested. They are a horrible offensive team. I actually watched them the other night, and they're just not very good on the offensive end. They really can't score. They don't have any bona fide player that can take a game over, only averaging about 62 a game on the road. They're a team that wants to play half court. They want to defend. They want to kind of, butter it up, make it 63-61 and get out of there with a win. LSU kind of the opposite. They want to run and kind of outscore people. And you look at what LSU's done recently. They're giving up 94 points a game over the last 5, allowing opponents to shoot 53%. I think Alabama kind of gained a little bit of momentum. They played pretty well against Florida in the last game, just didn't really have enough there. I don't know that Alabama right now, not a really backable team, especially with what's going on on that campus, a lot of negative energy after the loss in the national championship.
It's like that old adage: just don't bet bad teams, and that's the safest way to go.
Yeah, 100%. I've made it clear. My co-host of my podcast, Ryan, he was on a pretty heavy play of the day run. He hit it like 9 in a row. He had actually played Florida the other night in that game against Alabama. I thought a really good spot due to the fact that it was the first game back for those Alabama kids after the national championship, and that stuff kind of goes throughout different programs. I mean, the fans are down. No one's really excited, and that kind of hurt the basketball program. But I don't know. LSU, I'm not ever a big fan of playing just because they're not a good defensive team. They are really hit or miss on the offensive end, and likewise. So that's just kind of a coin flippy game that I'm never really interested in. Who's going to be able to get tempo? That's kind of the big thing.
Right. What do you think about? I got one on Facebook actually here. What's up, Dan? Thank you for tuning in. He's curious about a -9 USC Greensboro.
UNC Greensboro.
Yep.
Yeah, they're off a big win the other night against. Trying to remember, I think it was Chattanooga or one of the two big teams down in the Big South. I'm a pretty big fan of this conference. I like this conference, and VMI is a bad team. Greensboro's playing well this year. I mean, they're 13-5. They've really kind of grabbed the third spot really in the Big South. They're definitely gonna compete with Chattanooga and East Tennessee State, and they've done it defensively, been very effective on the defensive end. And VMI is a team that really has no identity offensively. They kind of just allow two of their best players to just kind of, I guess, find the best shot. I don't really know what they're doing offensively. They have a new coach, and they've really kind of gotten away from what they normally do on the offensive end. They can't make threes. They just suck. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. Greensboro should be able to go on the road here and get a win. But you look at some of their numbers, as most teams are in conferences like this, the home road dichotomy is pretty important. UNC Greensboro is not a great road team, as are most of these kind of teams. But VMI is not backable for me. I would lean Greensboro. But there's actually, I think, a better play in that conference. If I'm looking at the Big South today, I would look to East Tennessee State. They're playing West Carolina. Western Carolina is the worst offensive team in the country. East Tennessee State's at home. They're off they're actually off a loss. They're kind of in a really good spot to just hammer Western Carolina today. Western Carolina is awful. They should be able to roll them. You look at Western Carolina, some of their big step-up games, they've gotten plastered in most of them. So I would almost want to look to that game as opposed to this one. But thanks for listening, Dan. Appreciate it.
Right, Eastern Tennessee. We got a client here. True handicaps play the points. That's true, but it also depends on how many points there are. So.
Yeah, I mean, if he's talking about Greensboro VMI, look, if you want to back VMI, go ahead. But the Cadets aren't very good, so you'll probably be not happy with your play after that one's over. BMOC, what's the lock of the day? I don't know. That it's cold outside, probably. There's never a lock. That's a tough question, Ryan. Asking someone what a lock. I mean, nothing's a lock. You know that, Justin. I mean, I can give you my personal plays that I think are the best, but like anything.
I can actually say the second that I like the most confident pick that I have, a lot of times I'm like, it's a lock. That's the one that loses. So
I
Murphy's law, man. Something, at least for myself, something in the universe switches, the stars change, and.
Right. It's hard to pick games every day. I think I have some pretty good ones today, but the lock of the day, that's a tough one. The lock of the day is probably that the Texans will lose. That would probably be one.
Texas will lose.
The Texans will lose.
Oh, the Texans will lose. Oh, yeah, that's
pretty sure they're going to lose today. That would be one. Let's kind of keep it moving here. Try to get through as many as we can here. Thank you for all the kind words, people. I appreciate that. I don't really touch a lot of NBA, Cuban, so he's talking about NBA. A lot of just kind of chatter here. Montana State, there we go. How about that's what I was waiting for, one of those kind of games. Montana State and Northern Colorado. I backed Northern Colorado for some reason the other night, and it didn't work for me very well. They got crushed, but that's what happens when you back Northern Colorado. Montana State, though, look, I mean, I've actually played them 1 or 2 times this year. They have a player, Tyler Hall, that can. He's really good. I mean, like 22 points a game. He could definitely put a team on his back. I don't know though. I mean, can Montana State outscore Northern Colorado? They should. They're at home here, but they haven't been covering numbers. I would lean Montana State just because they're at home, and I think they're a much better offensive team here. Northern Colorado off that loss, you wonder how they're going to be psyche-wise. They've a team like that, you definitely once they start losing, it kind of just it's like an avalanche, just kind of compounds. So, yeah, I mean the Bobcats are probably the play here. Again, I want to take the best player on the court, and they have that. So that's where I would go with that one.
Hey, what do you think about Houston UCF?
Yeah, that's a tough one. UCF, I've had probably little to no luck betting this year. They seem to play well when no one's watching, and they can, you look at like the way they played this year. I mean, they no show against UConn, and then the game before they crushed Temple. It's just kind of been a weird season. Taco Fall has not played well lately. The 7'6" center, he's been lost, actually, is a better word. Without him, they're not as effective. They're not as good as a rebounding team as they should be. And Houston, I mean, look, Houston is slowly turning into one of the better teams in the American Athletic Conference. Are they Cincinnati? No, but they can shoot the lights out. They can play pretty good defense as well. They're only giving up about 62.5 points a game. This one's going to be pretty low scoring, I would think. But I actually like Houston here. I think they go on the road here and beat Central Florida and cover the number. I think they're just a better team. I don't like what I've seen out of Taco Fall lately. And it seems like ever since B.J. Taylor came back, the senior point guard or junior point guard, they've just not really been the same team. And, I'll take the hot Houston team right now.
My phone is ringing.
Someone's calling you.
Yeah, that's the wife. She's persistent. She's always persistent. Yeah, the Cougars are also 14-4 ATS. That's not something that you really want to jump in front of, like you always say. Train, you don't really want to jump in front of.
No, you don't. And Houston can shoot the basketball. They're really well coached. And look, I mean, Central Florida, again, like I said, just haven't seen a ton of positivity from them. Is the mic okay? You hearing everything good here?
You're still robo big man, but we can understand you, so it's all good.
Yeah, I'm not sure why. Let me just give me 1 second here. Any change?
It's a little better. It's a little better.
Unfortunately, we're doing this live, so there's not a lot of ways to really.
No, it's all good. Like everybody can understand you, I think, by the comments. But everybody's like, oh, it's Robo Big Man auto tune version.
Yeah. BMOC F's Mad Broads. I try to when I can. Hey, listen.
I had a couple other ones. I don't think we've discussed Austin Pay +8.
Austin?
Yeah, that's one that I was looking at earlier this morning.
Were you looking at Austin P? Really? Wow.
Yeah.
I don't have a ton of opinion on Austin P. One thing I have to point out, their coach, I believe, has cancer. I don't think he's on the sidelines. He's been there for a long time. That's kind of a tough it's tough for them to kind of compete right now. Dave Luce is a good coach, and they've had a tough time with it here. Haven't been able to cover. They've failed to cover in 7 of 10 road games. And they're a disastrous defensive team. Eastern Illinois actually can score pretty good defensively. Austin P is not worth backing to me personally, but Eastern Illinois has played pretty well this year, barring circumstances. Yeah, I mean, do you ever really want to back a team that gives up 85 points a game? I don't.
Right. How about Georgia, 10.5?
Yeah, it's really going to all be about if J.J. Frazier plays for me. That's a lot of points, especially in conference against a Georgia team that I played them the other night, and they've been a pretty good bet for me. Again, like I said, if J.J. Frazier plays, I'm all in on that one. If he doesn't, I'm not as in on it. But they're up to 11.5. Florida is, and Florida's a good team. I'm not sure they're a great team. I think Georgia's a pretty live dog. You want to know, though, is J.J. Frazier playing? He's one of their better players. I would look to probably grab that. Looks like too many points for me. But I don't know. Georgia just only shooting 42% on the road. Students are back at Florida. Could be a tough atmosphere tonight. But, it does seem like a lot of points if you ask me.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I was thinking, but
Sure.
let me see. Yeah, and actually, it's actually jumped since I last looked. It's up to 11.5 now at 5 dimes.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, I would definitely grab the 11.5 at that point. That's a pretty damn good play there. A lot of people ask about Butler, Xavier. Um, you know, I've made it clear I'm not a huge Xavier guy. Just for whatever reason, I don't know. I'm not a Big East guy really in general, but as far as Xavier is concerned, I don't know. I just think they're kind of blah, if you ask me. I'm not a huge fan of their coach either. Yeah, Butler's down to 4. They're off the loss to Creighton. And look, I'm never wanting to bet against Butler at home. That Hinkle Fieldhouse is an iconic place. It's a place where they've just seen them play a lot better. They've covered 5 of 7 at home, and they're 10-5 overall against the number. Xavier's good. They're not great defensively. They're not as good as Butler's defensively. And I just think there's kind of just a different aura when Butler plays at home. I'm looking to only back Butler at home. I'm not interested in fading them, especially against Xavier. I'm not a big Xavier guy. And again, last year, Xavier won both matchups. So I think Butler's kind of in revenge here. Awful loss. I think they get the job done and cover the number at home here.
Nice. Yeah, I was looking at that one, and to me, those are 2 top 20 teams, and I think they match up fairly well.
Yeah,
like you said, Butler's a different team at home. I'm looking for the number right now that 5 dimes had, just because I have my own account open.
Yeah, no, they definitely do. I mean, they're a very good team, but for me, I just think Butler at home, there's just a great aura at that place.
They're right in free throw land, -4 right now at 5 dimes. So.
Yeah, and Butler's going to make free throws at the end of games. Seton Hall, a lot of people asked about. That's always a tough road game going into the Dunkin' Donuts Center in Providence. Also, Providence gets back Kyron Cartwright, their guard. That's important. Look, Seton Hall's playing well. I mean, they're 12-4, but they're not covering numbers. 6-8 against the spread. Neither team really is covering numbers, but I actually think this is a little bit trappish, to be honest. It looks like kind of an easy play to take Seton Hall here. And look, they very well could win this game. But you look at in these kind of low-scoring, 65, 60 type of games, kind of the low-scoring game, they're not effective. They failed to cover in 7 straight with a total of 130 to 140. So in these high 60s type of games, they're not getting the job done.
You're breaking my heart here. I took Seton Hall on the money line.
Yeah, look, I think this game just looks really trappish, honestly. For me, I actually kind of like the home underdog here. But, listen, Seton should win on paper, but, it's tough.
Right. Man, this is a great chat today. We have a ton of action going on.
Yeah, it's always tough just to get there's so many people in here that, and a lot of the time, I mean, sometimes I miss games because people are talking about other things. And, I'm trying to come up with an idea on, maybe a way to do this, after the show, maybe. I can't, I'm not on Periscope. I was banned permanently, so I can't go on Periscope. So that's kind of taken away a lot of what I've tried to do. But
one thing I can say, guys, is about 10 minutes after the broadcast stops, this live chat disappears and we can't see the comments anymore. So if you have a question that didn't get answered, please put it actually in the normal comments afterwards. Just give come back into the video, the same one a few minutes later, and the comments will enable, and then you can actually put those in, and those will live forever, and we can come back and look at it and answer and reply and respond.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, feel free to, send me something on Twitter. Listen, I can't sit on the phone all day and try to talk to people, but, I'll try to give people, an opinion, the best I can. Again, it's just kind of tough to get to everyone here. Another one with what's your best bet today? I told you that the Texans will lose. That's my best bet.
I'll tell you mine on that same game.
Yeah.
Pats -3, -3.5 in the first quarter.
That's a good bet. Sure. I could definitely, yeah. The problem with that is
they'll be hot and just pounding it the first half, the first quarter, second quarter, and then they'll probably start resting guys up. Once they have a good lead, they'll probably start sitting guys down, preparing for the next game.
The one concern is Belichick usually defers, which, but then again, it should be a quick 3 and out, I would think, for for Brock Osweiler. If you want my breakdown of that video, I did join the Odds Couple yesterday at the end of their show, and we did that one. San Diego, BYU, that's a good one. BYU should roll. San Diego stinks. The Toreros are bad. They should be able to roll in that one. That's kind of a nice entree for BYU early on here. But yeah, I mean, again, we could go through, I think, every game here. It's kind of hard to just, you know.
Hey, thanks, Ray. Thanks, Ryan. Yeah, got some negativity in there, and we've got defenders. So. Oh,
where's Ryan at? Where's he at?
Thanks a lot, Ryan Leonard.
What did Ryan say?
Oh, he was just somebody was just talking smack, and he was like, "Man, get your negative energy out of here."
Yeah, well, listen, when you're doing something right, someone's going to hate on you. That's what happens. So, to all you haters, you know where to stick it. You know, I listen. I like to mess with them for sure. But yeah, I don't really know how to continue here. We got to keep. You know. By the way, I've seen people talk about Handicapper Watch Show. Keep in mind, Handicapper Watch Show, the things you're seeing, you're only looking at the last 7 days. I'll admit, I've had a tough last week or two. No one can lie about that. But again, if you can find a handicapper that wins every week of the year, you probably should go with them. I mean, that's pretty effective. You can win every year, every week of the year. That's really effective. So, again, I know who Marco is. That's one of the haters I have. He kind of stalks my whole life. So, I told you last week, go have sex with your wife. I mean, she needs it. I mean, really. I mean, come on. But yeah, so VCU Davidson, a lot of people asking about that one. That's one that I definitely have a play on, so I'm gonna look to avoid that one. But we should probably block Marco. What do you say?
I mean, you can. I don't even care. I think any attention is good attention. I don't know if it's negative or positive.
Definitely. He's taking time out of his day to hate on us. But yeah, as far as today, I definitely like Baylor. That's definitely a pretty good play. They should bounce back. I kind of like Nebraska as well. Getting 9 looks like a pretty good play as well. But yeah, I mean, if you want to play, get in touch with me. I'll give you a free play today, free client play, and we will.
We will, man. Hey, and fuck the bookies. They're saying we win, baby. Hope you guys catch my picks as well. I will pop over and check you out in a bit, buddy.
Yeah, feel free. Yeah, send them over. I'll definitely take a look at them here. Love to see what you're, what you're looking at there. But yeah, a lot of games today. Thanks,
Margo.
Dean Jones, happy birthday. Dean Jones' birthday's today. Happy birthday. And thanks to everyone out there listening. Appreciate you tuning in. Even the haters here.
We appreciate all your views. You're taking the time to view us, Marco included. Taking the time to watch the show. Yeah. I appreciate it, man.
Appreciate you listening, Marco. Thanks for the view. We always look for views. That's nice of you. Thanks. But yeah, that's kind of it, guys. You want
to give a quick recap on the games that you're leaning heaviest on, since this,
I like Baylor. I like Nebraska plus the 9. As far as some of the others. East Tennessee State should be able to really do what they want today against Western Carolina. One other one, kind of interesting, Illinois, Chicago, Youngstown. It's a pick'em. I've made some good money betting on Illinois, Chicago this year. Youngstown's been an awful home team over the last couple of years against the spread. Just having to win the game in a pick'em situation. Illinois, Chicago should be able to go on the road and get the job done. Youngstown is not backable with the way they play defense. But those are kind of some of the ones that I'm looking at. If you have a game that we didn't break down that you want us to break down, feel free to come on over. I said it before, I'll say it again. If you're interested in my plays, feel free to come over. I'll give you a discount. I'll give you a very good discount on the service. I'm not charging an arm and a leg here, and I'm not looking to get rich off this. So, I do this for free. We come on here and have some fun, and, come talk to me. We can try to work something out.
Yeah, and same thing for us. Please, guys, we have great picks, not only his contributions on sbrpicks.com. We have videos, all that good stuff. A great odds tool where you can check out all of the odds lined up, make sure you're getting the best price at sbrodds.com. Those visits help keep our lights on. If you do sign up for a sportsbook, use our links, and literally it's what pays my paycheck is the advertising that those sportsbooks give us. So we really do appreciate the views. check out him at Jeff Nadu on Twitter, ourselves at SBR Sports Picks on Twitter if you didn't already find us there. SBRpicks.com, SBRodds.com, BMOCwins.com.
Yeah, come over and join me. One thing I wanted to point out, Justin, I think it's kind of just one other thing. A lot of people always ask, if you're so good at picking games, why do you sell picks?
Sorry, here, let me address this real quick. Yeah, guys, I will put the links in the description after we close this broadcast out. I'll put BMOCwins.com and all that stuff so you guys can just click onto it and go in, and then also the SBR links as you. All right, sorry, buddy. Sorry for cutting you off.
One other thing I just wanted to point out. People always ask, if you're so good at handicapping, why do you sell picks? Keep in mind, I don't have a job. Okay, I don't go to work every day like everyone else. It's called bills. I like to, kind of set aside money, in the future. Teddy Covers said it best. There's no 401k in this business. We don't have IRAs or nothing like that. So that's why I sell picks. I feel like I work hard. I feel like I do a lot of research, and I feel like what we do every day on here is kind of worth it. And I don't really promote a whole lot. I don't tell you to come buy my service. If you want to come, you want to do business together, we can do it. If someone came to me for free, I would put them on. I try to help people out. That's why I sell picks. I sell picks to eat. I sell picks to live the way I want to live. And one other thing, if you've seen Rounders, there's a scene where Matt Damon goes to Kanish, the older guy, and says, stake me some money. I need to go make money. And he makes a comment and says, I do this to eat. I do this to pay child support. This is where I make my money. This is how I make money to live every day. And I feel like I work hard for it. So, for haters that want to come on here and say things, I do this to make a living. I do this to eat, and I do this to survive. So don't come on here with your stupid stuff. That one guy, we had a negative experience, and he kind of lives his life to bother me. So, I appreciate everyone out there that's nice and knows this is a business and knows that it's a 365 day thing. So,
right. And the cool thing is yeah, you do sell picks, sure, and you also offer a ass ton of free information and help people out every day as well for free. That includes on our site. He does a lot of contributions for free on our site for people to check out. And this is just one tool in the handicapping tool shed, so to speak, and like help you guys make educated decisions, whether it's, purchasing a pick or just having a guy like BMOC around to be able to kind of sift some of this information out and help yourself make your own educated picks. So
yes, definitely. So also keep taking a look at my podcast. I release it every day on my Twitter. I do a lot of breaking down games and things like that. So we go live every day.
Comments that people are saying they really like the podcast format that you do.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, we go live every day at 5:00 Eastern. Come join us. We've gotten some great feedback on that, and I appreciate everyone doing that. So, hey, listen, you want to live my life? A lot of people do. So keep hating on me. That's all I can say.
Right.
I'm 27, don't have a job. I might be doing something right, I guess. So, that's all I'll say. My Twitter at Jeff, JFFNADU. Justin, it's always a pleasure. Appreciate you having me on every day.
Love you, buddy. Have an awesome one.
Thanks,
you guys. Thank you so much for your views and all your comments and great questions. We will be on every Saturday, 10:30 Eastern.
We want to point out about
check out the rest of his stuff as well.
Yeah, definitely. Are we still on live, Justin?